Good morning. This is older Tracy Carr with Kingdom Money Wednesdays and being a Christian entrepreneur. Today, I want to talk about being a Christian entrepreneur. And I want to focus on those who have an established business as well as those who are aspiring to have a business. Amen. So I want to ask a question to those of you who already have a business. Did you count up the cost? All right. And those of you who are aspiring to have a business, you should count up the cost. Amen. And so that's what I want to talk about. Have you counted up the cost? And what I mean by that is to count up the cost is to fully consider and evaluate the potential negative consequences or sacrifices involved in a decision or an action before committing to it. Ensuring you are fully aware and prepared what it will require. And the reason I want to talk about counting up the cost is because I know that I have been sharing about what's going on in the world in the economic warfare, savings, all those things. And even in life, you have to count up the cost of what it's going to take for you to reach success, whether that's in your business or whether that's in your spiritual. So we know that even spiritually, we have to count up the cost. When we become saved to be a disciple of Christ, we're counting up the cost. What is it going to take for me to endure? Our pastor talks about enduring to the end in this hour. And in able to endure to the end in this hour, we really must count up the cost. Are we willing to do what it takes to get where we need to go? And so thinking about that in our businesses, are you thinking about when you for those of you who are already established, did you count up the cost? Did you sit down and plan, okay, it's going to cost me this much time, it's going to cost me this much money, I may go through ups and downs with the economy, I may go through this, I may go through that. And if you did, that is absolutely wonderful. So when and if those times have come, you were able to endure it and continue on to have a successful business. And I just want to encourage those of you who are a new starting business, make sure you sit down, count up the costs. Think about the ups and downs, the detours, what it's going to take for you to be successful. And just even example of in these times, we have to, like I said, I've talked about savings and things of that nature. And we want to make sure even in that we're counting up the cost. What is it going to take for us to do this? Do I gotta not partake in some of the things I desire, like shopping or buying those shoes when they're on sale? Am I willing to do what it's going to take to save and to do what I need to do in order to make it through this economic time? Amen. It says in Luke 14:28, it says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it? Lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish." So we don't want to be mocked in something that we started because we didn't count the cost up. Amen. We want to see it and endure it through to the end so that we will have successful businesses. Amen. I am talking about that in a business relationship, but we know that that is definitely spiritually as well, and being disciples of Christ, counting up the cost of what it's going to take to serve the Lord and to endure to the end. Amen. So I want you to think about that, and just counting up the cost is just taking an assessment of what is the risk going to be. How much time am I going to have to put 20 hours in today? Am I going to have to put 18 hours in today, thus taken from my family? Just counting up the cost, or if someone else is going to try to steal your idea, just anything you want to make sure you take into consideration the risk assessment, and that's going to help you to not have impulsiveness, but you're going to have a plan. Amen. This is Elder Tracy Carr. Remember, as you're on your entrepreneurial journey, count up the cost. Amen, and be blessed.